I know a lot of people, they can understand why policemen act the way they do, or maybe it's better to say have the attitude they do. But it's all about the job and what it does to you. As policemen, they don't ever see any of the good things, or very rarely do they see the good things. And they certainly don't get a call when things are going good. They only get a call when things are going bad. So it doesn't take long to get a negative attitude about the public. You spend all those weeks and months being trained to don't turn your back on people, don't trust people, watch their hands, on and on and on. It's hard to stay in that mindset and not become hardened against the people you're serving. It's really difficult to figure out the good guys from the bad guys. People used to ask me about my negative outlook towards people in general, and why do I think that way? And generally my question back to them was, well, how many dead babies would you need to see before your attitude towards people changed? Now, everybody is very protective of children, and no one wants to see children hurt. And there's nothing can affect people in a more negative way than to see a child that's hurt or that has died. I think with police officers, the reason we seem to cherish children more, or hyper protective of children. Children are the only bona fide, innocent, pure human beings that we'll have interaction with on a call. They're the only ones that we can trust, and we don't have to worry about. And if nothing else, we're going to take care of those children. There was a woman, and she was, I don't know, I guess in her 30s. Well, she had 3 kids. And I guess the oldest one was 7 or 8. And she had a second one. The next youngest was maybe 4 or 5. Well, then she had a real young baby. Now that child was maybe a year old, a little less. So she had these 3 kids, and she was married to a fella. Now, the youngest child, that was their child together. The other 2 children, they were from other men. Now, this couple, they lived in an apartment down there off Winchester, south side of the street, just east of Mill Branch. So now I believe I'm riding 230's ward, which back in the old days, that was the area that went from Range Road to 240 and from Elvis Presley to Airways. So I'm riding with Debbie Birdsong, and a call goes out. And it's regarding a structure fire at an apartment complex, and that there were children trapped inside. So, of course, we drive extremely fast, and we roll up. Can't remember if the fire department had gotten there before us or not, or maybe at the same time. But now, several apartments were just fully engulfed. And there was no hope for anyone inside any of those apartments. So now this woman's out there in the parking lot, and she's holding her youngest child. And her husband shows up. Now, he supposedly had been at work. So now he's just acting crazy and foolish, which, of course, is probably how you would act if two children, even if they weren't your own, were dead. So, of course, he's running up near where the fire's at, and the fire department's trying to put the fire down, so we have to grab him, and we're trying not to hurt him because we understand his grief, same grief that we're feeling for a loss of a child. So it gets to the point where we have to put him in the back of a squad car. Finally, the lieutenant gets there, the major gets there, and our major, he talks to the fella for a second. The fella promises he'll act right if he can just get out of the car, so let him out of the car, and then he gets to acting crazy again, and we have to go jump him again and drag him back over there and put him back in the car. Now, he's a big fella, so he's a handful, and it's even worse when you're trying not to hurt him. So the fire department, they get the fire put down, and they take the couple, husband, wife, and the baby, and they take them down to felony response. Because, of course, now you've got the death of two children. Now, that was the only casualty suffered in that apartment fire. So they're down there, and I'm on the scene. Birdsong, she's still on the scene, obviously. So we're just waiting, standing by while the fire department does their business. Then the medical examiner gets there, and they get out of their van. And now this was the first time I realized that they had body bags for little kids. I'd never even thought about it. I'd never seen one. Seen dead children. I'd never seen them loaded up into a body bag. So the sun's up and we're watching them put those babies in body bags. That was a dreadful sight to behold. Little dead children. Now, unfortunately, that's not even the worst part of this story. Because you see, after that couple's down there at phone in response, well, evidently, they must have been in contact with the fire department. Because the fire department's saying this is an arson fire. Somebody set that fire in that apartment. Now, this apartment, the way they were built, you had a ground floor and then you had an upper floor to the apartment. So you had your kitchen and living room downstairs. You walked up the stairs and that's where you had some of the bedrooms at. Now, what happened was the husband told the wife, we could make some money if we murder your two oldest children, the two children that aren't mine. Claim the insurance. And then we would just have the child we've got. So, of course, I try to picture what that must have been like for that mama to have her youngest baby downstairs and her putting her two oldest children to bed. Maybe even gave them a kiss and told them she loved them. And then she walks downstairs, and her husband, who come to find out had not been at work, while he's sloshing gasoline in the apartment. And he sets it on fire. And then they leave the apartment. And they murdered those two little kids. That's what the police see every day.